Hello, and welcome to Here's the Thing with Robbie and Jose, where we explore relationships through a male and female perspective. With me, as always, is the lovely Robbie.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I wanted to start us off today. For anyone that listened to the speed dating episode, there was a woman in there, and we named her Malibu. And so today I got us some Malibu to toast to her. She did not reach back out to us regarding that night, but I still am keeping hopes that
she'll reach out?
Yes, one of these days.
She probably found love and she's good now and she's not speed dating any longer.
Well, Malibu, if you're out there, this one's for you.
Cheers,
Cheers. Malibu. Ooh, it's so delicious.
She said she doesn't chase, so whoever caught
I know,
her
but
had
she
to
could
chase
email
her.
us, let us know how she's doing.
She
Maybe
could.
just give us an update.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her friend was kind of cool too.
Yeah, glasses.
Yeah. Is that what her name was? Yeah, I guess it was glasses. Yeah.
Which I don't know why that just sounded funny because it's like, it's not an insult, but it kind of sounds insulty.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And they didn't even look like friends. You know what I mean? Like they were friends, but you know how sometimes friends tend to look alike? They didn't look anything alike. You
I
know
don't
how
look
they
anyone.
Well, at least there's like certain things about them that they look similar. I don't know how to explain it. Friends, you can tell friends are friends, if you will. They don't need to be like exactly alike, but you like personality or something. Anyways, they didn't really particularly look
I actually don't have any friends that I think that have the same personality as me or even similar.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm a lot sometimes to handle. I don't know if I can handle another person like me.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
We're going to go ahead and jump into it today because we have a lot to cover. Today, we are going to be opening up the X-Files. Now, this is EX, not to be confused with X-Files, the TV show, which was a really good show, by the way.
Did you watch? Great show, yeah.
You know, that show always reminds me of Tales from the Crypt. I don't know if it came on at similar times or maybe it's just the years where they were popular, but I always think of like X-Files and then Tales from the Crypt, which was also a really good show.
Yeah.
But I did watch it like a few years ago. It does not hold up.
No. Some of it is dated. What is it? What was the other show like that? Twilight Zone.
Oh, yes.
Those still hold up. But I think it's because they're black and white. So it takes you back to that time like, oh, okay, this is a
You give them a
time.
pass because it's...
Yeah. Whereas you watch something that was done in the 80s or 90s, it's still color. So you kind of look at it as like, oh, it looks dated.
Yeah.
Whereas in black and white, it does too. But it takes you to like, okay, just so that we're clear.
Yeah. Give us a little bit of leeway because it's bad, but this was before we knew what good television... Well, I'm sure there was some good television, but my dad really liked the Twilight Zone.
It was a great show. It made you think, and it was sci-fi, and sci-fi wasn't all that big. It was semi-sci-fi. It was horror. It was, made you think. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But so we're talking about the X-Files. So I got these, basically the don'ts. Don't do these things after a breakup in regards to your ex. I got this from the Instagram account. It's called Relationship Secret 2023. Mm-hmm. So give that person a shout out, whoever account that is, that like, this is where I got those points. So we're going to kind of go through them and like, see what's up. I mean, what you should do.
What we're not supposed to do.
Right.
I probably should have heard or probably pulled up this list before all my exes, but okay, let's do it. I'm pretty sure I've done some of these.
I'm pretty sure you have too. Okay, so number 1 is don't beg for another chance.
Oh, man.
I think we talked about this a few weeks ago, but like, I guess it's if a person came to you and said like, look, this isn't working out, let me ask you, because I may say something like, if I really care about this person, I may say like, well, what is it? Maybe we can work through it. Like, let's say they never brought anything up. Is like that
who's initiating it? Let me ask you that. Are you talking about like if a guy?
Right. So like if a guy said to me, he sat me down and said, Robbie, like, look, I think we should part ways. Is me asking again, if I care about this person, is me saying like, well, what is it? Maybe it's something we can work through. Is that like begging, or is that just like you're trying to get more information?
No, I think that's getting more information.
Okay.
Because if it's something like, okay, is it something that I did? Is it my personality? I think rejection is hard. So if you're going to get rejected, I should at least know why you're rejecting me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's something that I'm doing, perhaps I can change it, perhaps I can't. If it's just who I am as a person, at least I know that, okay, that's...
Well, I mean, it could be, maybe it's not in regards to me per se, but there's something in our relationship that maybe they haven't said it before. Like they haven't brought it up as it's an issue. And maybe you were like, oh, it could be like, I don't
and
know.
the person never knew and never
Yeah,
really
like
had a
let's say
chance?
that I was working a lot. Like let's say something was going on in my job and I was required to do a lot of overtime. And so I was kind of absent, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that person was like, look, you're obviously too busy. I think we should part ways or whatever. It could be something where I could say like, look, this job situation, this is a temporary thing.
Sure.
And we can kind of talk it out. But the begging thing, I mean, it's happened to me. I don't know if it's
happened to me. I don't think I've ever begged, although I think I did. This was many, many years ago, though, like when I was a teenager. I might have done that.
I'm not including that because we didn't know anything about anything. So,
As an adult, I would never.
Yeah.
As an adult, I don't think I've ever done that. Like, most of the time, I'm just kind of like, okay, cool.
Yeah. It's kind of different for women too, because like I've heard like, well, when women are done, we're usually done. They're usually because we have tried for so long. But I think for men, I don't know if it's the same. Do they just like keep trying to put up with it? And then eventually they come to you and say like, hey, we need to end this.
Yeah, typically it's, so that, I think that, and I can't speak for women, but it feels like when women come to that decision, they've thought about it for a while.
Yeah.
Now they're just bringing you into the fray and letting you know. So asking, you can ask, but begging's not going to do you any good because they've already made that decision. You're done. You're done at that point. It's over. You can ask, what could I have done better? Or is there something? Because sometimes they might just genuinely not be interested in you anymore. That happens too. I mean, but what are you going to do? But for men, and I kind of feel like, man, I might be unique, but I'm still trying. Even if I'm in a relationship where I am not 100% happy, I'm still trying and trying and trying. And then finally, once it hits, like, okay, I just can't do this anymore. That's when I let them know, like, hey, sorry, like it's time for us to, but you know what I mean? But there's not a lot of lag time between that. Like, let's say on Monday, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I can't do this. By Tuesday or Wednesday, that's when you're going to get your notice. If not on Monday, you're going to get your notice. Whereas a woman might say, I'm done on Monday, and then a month will go by. And then she'll drop the hammer and be like, okay, we're done for one reason or the other. I don't know why. I don't know if maybe the timing or why they would do that, but
I don't know about that per se, but if I was in a relationship, a serious relationship, I would have multiple conversations before I got to that point, right? So if you don't take it as that, if I go to you and say like, look, I'm not happy, these are these things I need changed or whatever it is, and I continue to have a few conversations about that, like bringing it up, and then you decide to do nothing, then when I'm finally like, okay, look, it's not ultimatums or anything like that. It's just like, I'm trying to make this work. I'm coming to you to try to fix these things because I care about you. But if you don't want to work with me, eventually I'm going to reach a breaking point and be like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And the begging part just feels uncomfortable, I think, for both parties. The second one is don't seek them out on social media.
Oh, don't seek them out on. I just want to make sure. Don't. Okay.
We have so much curiosity in us of like, how are they doing what? Who are they doing? What are they? You know what I mean? So like, I don't think I would look them up. I have it where sometimes it does pop up, but people you may know if it's connected to your phone or if they're.
What am I supposed to do? Ignore that?
I don't know.
I'm kidding.
I mean, that is uncomfortable, I guess. When it pops up.
I think when I know it's a don't, but I don't think we're ever gonna not do that.
Right.
The only way that you would guarantee that you wouldn't do that, well, even then you can get around it, but you could try to like block them. Because once you block them, then you won't see anything about them anymore. That might be an extreme and it might seem almost aggressive, but it could be that you just want to stop thinking about them. So back in the day, because I am of an older generation, I'm Gen X, right? So back in the day, whenever I broke up with somebody, either in my teens or my 20s, the way I would do that, because we didn't have social media to troll anybody or anything like that. So anything that I had of them, I got rid of. I either threw it away or burned it. And that way I was forced not to think about them anymore. And I could move on with my life.
Remember back in the day before social media, people would drive by your house to see if you were home.
Yeah,
is that still a thing now?
Oh, I don't know now.
That's what I'm saying. Can you like, well, I don't know. I guess if you had it, okay, let me ask an Apple question. I know some couples like have that tracker on their phone for their partner. But when you break up, you can turn that off, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if people still actually.
I mean, technology has gotten like to stalk people. It's gotten a lot worse because now you can put actually like technology around, like if you have like an AirTag, and that happens sometimes too, where they might put an AirTag on your car and then they can see where you're going
and
track
you
it.
wouldn't know about it.
You wouldn't know about it unless you had an Apple yourself. If you had an Apple phone, it would tell you there's an AirTag close to you, just FYI, and it's not yours.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but I'm assuming if you're an Android, you would have no earthly idea. They would just place it somewhere inside your car somewhere or like somewhere around it.
Yeah.
And they could track your every move, everywhere you went. Well, at least wherever the car went anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's weird. I wouldn't mind if my boyfriend was tracking because it's like I don't have anything to hide, so I don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, if there was someone who...
Yeah.
I feel like
you might be able to do it with the tile too. So it's not just an AirTag, but you might be able to do it with the tile as well. So you can find your keys and whatnot. You might be able to do it that way too.
Well,
so I don't know how you would know.
As I was saying that, I was like, I don't know if people drive by people's houses anymore. I take that back actually because that's happened to me even up to a few years ago. So I guess people still...
Well, but here's what ends up happening. Here's why they do it too. So I know they're saying don't do that, but let's just say guy comes up to you and says, Robbie, sorry, I don't think we should see each other anymore. And then you might be heartbroken or whatever. You might not express it, knowing you might have a stone cold face, but maybe you're a little upset, a little hurt, right? Mm-hmm. Now you could ask questions. Is something I did, this, that, and the other, and I could be like, no. Or I could say, you know what, Robbie, you were, I tried to work with you, but you were just this way, and you had this personality, and you had this, and you had that, and try to blame it on you, and maybe you fight back and say, no, blah, 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 whatever. Mm-hmm. Then it ends, right? I'm not sure I understand. Oh, sorry. My phone started. See how they listen? They listen in on everything, just so you know. But now that I know that that's going to happen, let me turn it off.
She's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. So, but then let's say you do look them up on social media, and the day after you guys broke up, you see them with somebody else taking selfies with another woman. So then you would be like, he made it sound like it was me all along. He had this other girl, because unless he got into a relationship within the last 24 hours, they met and they decided to take selfies together. This dude's full of crap. And sometimes that happens too, because then it makes that other person angry. Now, again, it's still a don't.
Yeah.
Don't look him up. But I can see where people are like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I thought we were rolling along just fine. This is coming out of the blue. I don't recall them really mentioning anything that was bothering them. Now, all of a sudden, I'm seeing them with somebody else. So that's one of the reasons why people do it.
Yeah.
Because they want to know, is it really me? Was it really the relationship? Or was there another person that he was trying to make me feel a certain kind of way? Turns out he was jeeping all along.
I think if it comes out of nowhere, most of the time it's because they met someone else.
Maybe. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. The only way to know is that you're trying to get clues. Everybody's into true crime and investigating, and you have all these internet investigators. That
if I was in a long-term relationship and he broke up with me, and the very next day I saw that, I probably would be like curiosity of like wanting to maybe, but I don't know what you could find out. I mean, if
you would know the truth, but then here's the problem with that. Again, this is why it's a don't. Then you're going to question your entire relationship. Yeah. Like, was he always doing that? Or was she always doing that? Like, what the heck is going on? Here I thought we were in a committed relationship and things were going along smoothly. Then he breaks up with me. And then all of a sudden I see him on what is going on? Like, but again, it's a don't, because now you're going to be plagued with all these thoughts going into your head and trying to think back. What about that time that he didn't come home that night and he said he was working, and it's just
maybe my car won't start.
But I think, you're right. I think it's a don't, because once it happens and once it ends, you should, for all purposes, intend to try to move on and not think about that anymore. But
I feel like that there's been a couple scenarios where you and I have known someone and we found them, like, let's say social media, and they're in a relationship with someone, and then that ends, and then really soon after they're tagged with another person, and you and I sometimes will like look to see, because like the timeline is so close. It's like, dude, we know you had her already. Like,
love social media, man. It tells you a story. Never mind what they're posting. That's nothing. That's all phony. But once you look at the timelines and you look at the memes that they put up and you look at the different sayings that they have, because that's the other thing.
No one can love you more than yourself,
right?
And be okay with yourself.
And don't get me wrong, I totally agree with all those, but you can tell when somebody's going through something.
Yeah.
Right? Because usually if you look at the messages, they'll be like, are you okay? What's going on? Like, is everything fine? Like, are you in a doubt? Like, what's happening? But yeah, social media, and I know we all do it to a certain degree, but it's not a good idea. When you're in an emotional state, it's not a good idea to post. It's not a good idea to look people up or troll anybody or whatever. Because again, even the word troll, I'm not sure if that implies that you're messing with them or, but here's the other thing that people do too. When it comes to that, they'll set up fake accounts. And sometimes that happens too. And so they'll set up a fake account because they don't want you to know that it's them looking at your stuff. So they set up this fake profile. Now that's another level.
That's a whole level of crazy that I cannot relate. That is so extreme.
People do it. Sometimes they'll do it while they're in a relationship. Just to see if they can catch them doing something else that they're not supposed to be doing.
But you already clearly have trust issues. If you're going to do that, isn't that the key indicator that maybe I shouldn't be with this person because I am pretending to be some hot Instagram model and I'm going to message you just to see what you say? That's people, if you're doing that, please stop.
I always see that as an entrapment. So anytime anybody messages me, I'm always skeptical every single time, unless they're a true friend, in which case I know it's like, okay, yeah.
So like a random person, you'd be like, hey.
Even if it's just an acquaintance or somebody that somebody that I knew and I friended them just because they know some of the same mutual people or whatever. Even then I'm just like, no. I go with a certain amount of skepticism. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like if you're walking down the street. I'm old school, so back in the day, the hustlers and stuff, they would always come up to you and be like, "Hey, you want to make some extra money?" Or you see those guys with the cards, and they're like, "All you got to do is pick the right card, and you win $200." And it's just like,
And they got that other person there that's part of the con. What do they call that person?
I don't know. The accomplice, yeah.
They're
in on.
Look how easy he won all this money.
Exactly. But I've been around the block too many times, so I'm just like, no, I'm good. You're fine. I don't need to try to win any money.
Maybe it's different for women, but like I don't talk to any people that approach me in the street. Like I'm just, I will. Yeah. Maybe that's rude.
It's
I don't know.
It's the same concept though. In social media, anybody that approaches me, unless I know you, I'm not going to engage in.
Yeah, if I get like a weird message from someone, even maybe somebody I'm connected with on Instagram or something, but I haven't spoken to them in years. I mean, even a female, they send me a direct message or something. It's probably because their phone got hacked. So like I wouldn't even click on it because it's like, I haven't talked to you in 20 years. You wouldn't be sending me a DM.
Right.
So, number 3 is don't date or marry the first one that comes along.
I'm sorry, say that one more time. The rebound you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So like you end a relationship, the very first person, don't try to like be with them or marry that person. Like obviously you're in an emotional state. And I guess if you make it clear, if you're just dating casually and you're just like, look, I just got to have a relationship. I just want to have fun. I mean, guys would be like, sure.
First of all, no woman ever says that, just so that we're clear. I agree that that's a don't. But
not even after like a divorce, a woman wouldn't.
So there's a caveat to that. So the caveat would be this. If you get out of a serious relationship, you really should take the time to process that before you get out there. The mistake that people make, both men and women, is they go out there almost immediately, or they don't give it enough time. And so then they put themselves out there and then they find somebody. Now, the problem is that the person that you might find might be the best person for you, might not. But because you still haven't dealt with it, it's usually not a good idea. So I learned that the hard way when I first started dating after my divorce, was that anytime if I had asked a woman and they say they just got a relationship, let's say it was within a month or a couple of weeks, I figured out really quick, we're going to have a lot of fun. But it probably won't lead to anything. Yeah. Because even after you have all this fun with them, eventually the emotions come back that they have to start and then it starts to come out. So if you've been seeing each other for like a month and let's say it's been fun, right? We'll just call it that. Then all of a sudden they start talking about their exes more and more and more and more and more. It starts to consume the conversation. I'm like, she's not ready.
Wouldn't that come out like the first couple of dates though? If she's that emotional about it?
No, because typically they're trying to forget. So they just want to have fun. So that's what I'm saying. When you go out with them, you're like, okay, let's go have fun. let's go do this, let's go do that, let's go dinner. You're having fun, and everything is fun because they're doing their best to get over that person. The problem is that those emotions and those thoughts won't go away until you address them, and so it usually manifests itself afterwards. After you're having all that fun, then there's some downtime. That's when everything starts to flow out.
Yeah.
And you can almost tell immediately, oh, they're not over their ex.
Yeah.
So where does that put me? And sometimes they'll eventually break up with you because they're like, yeah, I can't do this anymore, blah, blah, blah. Because again, they never dealt with that emotion. So you end up being the rebound person and you're pretty much stuck. So you again, you just have to gauge. And most, even like, I would say seasoned daters, the women, they'll ask that right off the gate. When was your last relationship? How did it end? Like it's almost a standard question that you get nowadays. And so when you get that, you tell them, oh, it's been X amount of time, whatever. But if it's too close in proximity, a week, 2 weeks, or a month even, they'll raise an eyebrow like, are you really over them? They might not say it, but that's the reason why they're asking. Well, mostly because they've been in that same situation too.
Yeah. Something that's happened to me, it wasn't that I wasn't over my ex, but when I was doing the rebound thing, what happens is that you mistake the feelings for this new person, because let's say that you're in a long-term relationship and it was bad for a while and whatever, you start dating somebody else and you have that new dating, the butterflies and all that kind of stuff. So
the wonderfulness.
What's happened for me is that I may think that I really like this rebound. It has nothing to do with, let's say I'm over my ex, it's been over, because you know how women are. It's like, man, I've been checked out. Like, I'm not thinking about you, but this is fun and exciting and whatever. And I mean, like, oh, I really like this dude. And then it runs its course. And I'm like, once that fizzles out, I'm like, I didn't really like that person. You're just under this emotional state where that can confuse you, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even if a woman's thought about it for a while, or a dude, let's say, and then they eventually, say, okay, we're going to break up, or, we're going to go our own separate ways. Sometimes the reality needs to hit too.
Yeah.
Because even if you're just going through the motions of messaging one another and talking on the phone, even if your heart isn't into it, once that stops completely cold turkey, that's when it becomes like a real reality. It's like, oh, okay. And then that's when all the thoughts start coming in. And it's just like, let's just say even like sometimes if you left work, let's say you're going on to a different company, you're working for a different company or whatever, right? It's like, yeah, like I'm excited about this new endeavor. At the same time, I can't help but think about how I used to do it over there and blah, 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 blah. So, so I think, but yeah, in general, I usually, if when I date, if they tell me that it's been a short term, I mean, if it's a short period between the last breakup, I walk with caution. Yeah. Like, I'm like, okay. But
it's really hard. It's like we, as the person, you tell yourself like, okay, if this, once this ends, like don't immediately go back out to the bars and blah, blah, blah. But that loneliness of every weekend you had something to do and now you're just sitting there eating, watching TV or whatever, crying. It's just
is that a don't? What number is that?
No, I'm just saying like the feeling that you get.
It's got to be a don't, because we all do that. That's a bad idea in general. It's usually better to get out there and start working out and,
No, I'm just saying not the eating part. I'm just saying that like, that's why like sometimes you get back out to the bars because it's like, or just things in general, because you had this, where you weren't just by yourself. And the weekends start to get real boring, I guess I should say.
Well, it's that too. But again, let's say you've been the one that they, let's say she broke up with you. Now, to a certain degree, you're feeling a certain kind of way. So you want to feel desired again.
Right.
So, and if you're a woman and she was the one that got dumped, she's probably feeling like, okay, I've just been rejected. I'm not feeling great right now.
Yeah.
I would love to get a little attention from somebody. And so you go out.
Yeah.
Most women, that's usually how they deal with things, right? They're like, hey, let's go out, girl. Let's go have some drinks. Let's go party. Forget that guy.
Woo, shots.
Yeah, exactly. And then you go out there and it's a bad idea, to your point, because you're in a vulnerable spot. But at the same time, you also like, I don't want to feel rejected. That's a hard feeling when somebody tells you, no, I don't want to be with you anymore. Like your company is no longer required. I would really not want to hang out with you at all anymore. Yeah. It hurts. And you're like, okay. is there somebody else out there that likes me? Like, I need a little more attention. Like, I can't be that horrible. And so you go out there, you put yourself out there. Again, guys will typically, at least the wolves anyways, they can tell. They'll spot you out and then like, oh, that's the vulnerable one right there. And so especially the really nasty wolves, they'll know exactly what to do to make you feel better. And they usually come off as very charming, very sweet. They're going to make you feel desirable again. They're going to make you feel like a princess. They're going to make you feel sexy and beautiful and all the things that obviously the relations that you were in wasn't. Of course, now all of a sudden you're going to do things that you ordinarily wouldn't do.
Yeah.
And then a whole laundry list of
So
regrets.
it's okay to maybe after the breakup, you stay home and just try to heal.
It's usually the best way. It's just men tend to do that. They'll go overboard. They stay home too much where their buddies are like, dude, enough is enough. Let's get out there. Let's go do something. Women in general, and I'm speaking in generalities, usually they handle it much different. They're like, no, girl, let's get back out there. Let's get out there as quickly as possible. Show everybody what you're worth. Let's see. Let's put it out there. And it's like, I don't know which one is better, but what I do know is that you do need to deal with it one way or the other, however it is that whatever your process is.
I think they could both be destructive depending on what you're doing. So what I've heard from men after like a serious relationship ends, they were like, I'm just diving into work. Like to your point, they don't go out. It's just work, and you're just staying at home and whatever. And you're right. I don't know why guys do that. Maybe because
control. That's what that is. It's a sense of control when your life is chaotic, right? And all of our lives, we talk about relationships, obviously, right? But there's work life, there's your family life, there's your friends, there's your romantic partners. And so when something is out of your control, especially when it's another person, or let's say even if you have kids for that matter, and they're doing things that you have no control over, like it's just part of it. The one thing that you can control is your work. Working out is another thing, right? Because you can work out, so you know how much weights you can lift or whether or not you want to stay in the gym for an hour or two. It's something that you can control because everything else is chaotic. I just got dumped. I didn't want to get dumped. I thought we were going to be together forever. My heart's broken. I have no control over anything. What do I have control over? It's like, okay, working out and work. It's like, let me dive into this because here I'm important. Here I'm treated with respect and I can control certain things to a certain degree.
Do you think the difference is, by the way, a woman would handle that is because if we're trying to feel desired by men, is that why we go out and, try to be hit on and all that kind of stuff? Because it's, you feel the same. You still feel rejected if you're a man, but for women, maybe it hits harder because we think like, oh, am I not pretty enough? Am I not, do I not turn him on or whatever? Do you think that's why we do that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it depends on the person, right? A lot of times looks gets a lot of attention. It's the way you look. It's the way you look. It's the way you look. We can't get around it, especially for men. We're visual creatures. So that's the thing, right? And then, of course, I've heard, like women kind of size each other up. Guys will size each other up when we walk into a room and we see other guys and we're like, I can take that dude. And if that dude tried anything, like I can whoop that dude and I can whoop that dude. That dude's a threat. That dude's not a threat. You assess everything, right? I'm assuming that women, it's different, but the same, right? I don't know if you guys assess other women like that woman's a little more flirtatious or that one looks like trouble or, to like keep her away from my man because I could already see, you know what I mean? I don't know if you would be better equipped to tell me that, but I do know that for guys, we do that, right? And we'll kind of assess a room. It's like, okay, where's the danger? Where's everything at? And then once I've made that assessment, then I can calm down and do that. But if women do that too, and it's a competition of who's more good looking in the room or who's the prettiest, who's got the dress, who's got the flash, whatever, then yeah, that might be a thing.
I'm not going to say never, but I don't recall doing that. Like, I may notice a beautiful woman in the room, but I don't think I go into the room and like scan for like, it's a threat kind of thing. I don't know if I remember doing that.
Well, but here's what might happen too, right? Let's say you're with somebody and you've been with them for a long time and you start to take them for granted as a guy, right? You start taking your girl for granted. You don't tell her as pretty as she used to be, right? So you don't tell her anymore like you used to. You don't go over the top. And so now you go to a public setting and he's already not doing that. And let's say he starts to stare at a woman, or you catch him looking at a woman more or longer than he really should, you're going to feel a certain kind of way about that. Even if you're not assessing the room, you're like, wait a minute, you're looking a little too hard right now. And so now that you're looking a little too hard, that's got to be a horrible feeling on the inside, because here you are thinking, I've done all this for you, and you've barely made a comment about it, and you're over here gawking at this woman. This is not a good feeling, right? And the problem is you're not even paying attention, because there might be dudes that are gawking on you. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a dumb dude. Doesn't a guy know that it's like...
Guys don't.
Well, I see like those memes on Instagram where it's like they're at a gym and he's like working out with his girlfriend, and then another girl comes over and she starts bending down, and he'll look at the girlfriend and like look around, like, because he knows it's like, don't be stupid, bruh. Like, don't be, come on now.
But we're dudes. What are you going to do? Sometimes you can't help it. But yes, you do have to avert your eyes and make sure not to get yourself in trouble. But
I do the same thing. If I saw someone, if I was in a relationship and we're out to dinner and I saw an attractive dude, I mean, when someone walks past, you glance because that's just what you do. But like, yeah, I know it's like, if I wanted to look at this person longer than whatever, I wouldn't do that in front of my boyfriend. I don't know. So. Number 4 is don't casually ask mutual friends about them. So don't say, how's John doing? Is he with anybody?
John is living his best life, girl.
Whatever that person says, you're not going to want to hear that answer. So don't ask questions that you don't want to know the answer to.
John is the happiest he's ever been.
He's lost weight. He looks great, man. He's buffed up. He's got this girl. Out. She's smoking hot.
He's dressing better. Oh my gosh.
Because if you do ask, it's because you want them to know that they're doing bad. It's like, oh, and John gained 40 pounds. He lost his job.
That would make you feel good then. It's like, yeah, he's in the dumps.
Maybe if he hurt you badly, you'd be like, see, you could have had it real good with me, but look at you now.
That's just plain mean. But yeah, I mean... I don't know. I can kind of see, because even if you don't ask your mutual friends, they might come up in conversation. I think mutual friends, and I've been a mutual friend, you just know, don't mention them.
Oh yeah, I'd be like, that person doesn't exist.
But sometimes it might slip out. If you went to an event and that person was there, you know, and they're asked, well, who was there? Oh, Kevin, Sandy. John and what's his name?
Do you think that a friend would lie? Let's say that I asked how John was doing and you went to a concert with John and his new girlfriend. If I said, was he with anybody? Do you think that some friends would just lie because they don't want to hurt?
Hopefully not. I don't particularly like lying to friends or any of that.
What if I said, oh wait, let me give you a scenario. Okay, let's say John's my ex-boyfriend. You went out with a concert with him, his new girlfriend. Yeah. What if I asked you, is she better looking than me?
Wow. Is that don't number 6? Because that should be don't number 6 of never ask that question right there.
But you as my friend, would you lie?
You know,
you just said you didn't want to lie, but if she did look better than me, you better not say that.
I didn't want to lie, but at the same time, it's like, compared to what? Because everybody's taste is different, I suppose. If you were bold enough to ask that question, I suppose I would have to give you the best answer that I could come up with.
You better lie.
But I think people would have more of a problem with, let's just say, like you weren't invited. Let's say, come to find out that it was couples only. So it was a couples only event. Let's say it was a game night, trivia night.
Okay.
And it was only couples. And you haven't coupled up, but John did. So that's the reason why John was there with his new girlfriend. You weren't there because now you're going to feel excluded from events because like, oh, that's crappy. You know what I mean? And being a mutual friend, it puts you in a weird, you almost have to pick a side. Like, okay, who are we going to continue hanging out with?
Yeah.
Is it going to be Robbie or is it going to be John?
Better be me.
But John's got a girlfriend now. And
apparently she's hotter than me. Like, Robbie, she's a 10, you a 5. I mean.
But would it really make a difference? Let's just say she wasn't. Would that make you feel better? Or
well,
would
I wouldn't ask.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, do you think it would make that person feel better to know?
As a woman, yes.
Okay.
If he, what's the word? traded down, I
Traded
think that would make anyone feel better, right?
I guess. I don't know.
Like if I was with you and like, let's say that, you're a 10 or whatever, and then you see me out somewhere and the dude that I'm with now, let's say, well, I won't say the traits, but let's just say he's not great. Like he's like a 4.
Sure.
Wouldn't you be like,
I would be confused and be like, okay, maybe there's something else there, but it wouldn't make me feel any better. Like it doesn't, like, let's just say again, and I consider myself a solid 5 on the scale. So I'm a solid 5, but let's say that my ex was dating somebody that was like a 10, right? A Brad Pitt or Leo or something. I wouldn't feel any kind of way about it. It still hurts irrespective of, you know what I mean? Like it could be the, most horrible looking dude in the world. It doesn't matter.
Maybe it's something that we say to ourselves of like, yes, you're right. If I saw my ex and let's say he broke up with me, broke my heart. I see him out with somewhere, even if she's not, if she's less attractive, it still hurts. I get that. But maybe, if they were less attractive, maybe the person would feel better, be like, oh, well, he had to trade down, or maybe this is what's out there. I don't know.
I'll say this much. For me, I don't focus too much on that. The one thing that I usually do after I break up with somebody or somebody breaks up with me, which is usually in most cases what happens, I go out of my way to better myself at that point. I don't really concern myself too much with what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, great. Going to go hit the gym, going to start eating better, going to start exercising. Not only does it help me feel better, the endorphins and all the good stuff that goes on there, and B, it also keeps me busy. And then C, the byproduct is going to be, and I might go shopping. So again, as I start getting in better shape and I start looking better, I might go and buy myself a suit or go buy myself, a nice pair of, Jordans or something, something that makes me feel better. And then I'm just going to continue to perpetuate that until I get to a point where I'm good. Now, again, if I see her with somebody else, yeah, it might bring up some emotions, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm good. Like I'm working on myself. Let's put it that way.
Well, that leads into number 5. Number 5 is don't stop taking care of yourself. To your point, everything you're saying, I agree with. You should. I think maybe for me, I would take a little time to be sad, and that's okay. But then after that, I would do the same thing. It's like, okay, let me get, my life, whatever it is that you were wanting to do, or like I said, eat better, like, oh, I do want to join a gym now, like all that thing, or maybe sleeping more of like, okay, I need to make sure I, get my 8 hours. So all the things that would make you feel better. Now, I will say for me, after a breakup, I have a tendency, just because I'm so upset, I don't eat. So there is that short period of time where I'm not, I guess, taking care of myself because I'm so upset that I won't eat. So then you start to lose a lot of weight, and not in a good way. Like it'll come right back, but it's just
been
like
there before. That's a do, right? Or is that a don't? Because you can drop a good 10 pounds really quick.
I know, but it's not taking care of yourself. You're sad and you're not eating because you're upset.
Sure.
Which is not good. But that's kind of...
You lose weight and you're looking good, so...
Yeah, but it's not like good. It's like you drop weight that fast, it's not going to be good. It's going to be saggy. It's not like you're losing weight, you're eating better and whatever. It's just like you're sad all the time. You're probably going to be dehydrated, probably going to be laying in bed a lot. But
I would say, aside from the working out, right, because that's going to get your endorphins and a lot of good stuff going on. But I also see, because again, I don't think necessarily staying home a lot is also a solution. I think that's usually the good time to reconnect with friends. I'm not saying use your friends, right? Because they might call you out as like, hey, when you were with John, we never saw you. Now all of a sudden we're seeing you all of a sudden. So you might have to deal with that if you didn't maintain the relationships well. But being social, being out with family, being in, again, not clubs and not bars.
Right.
But going to events with friends is like, hey.
Like festivals or.
Exactly. That's always a good idea because it gets you out. It's like the world is a bigger place. Yes, that is not great, but at least you're out and about, you're being social, you're interacting with people. And then of course, when you're at home by yourself, that's when it usually hits you. And again, you'd be like, okay, well, let me go work or go do something else. But yeah, I mean, I think that's always a good idea. That's when you reconnect with your friends and your family and everybody, and you start building those relationships. And then again, because here's the thing that happens in a lot of relationships, don't get me wrong, you're exclusive, so you're with one another a lot, but it can't be everything. Like you do need a separate life. You do need your friends. You do need your family. You do need to spend time with them sometimes too. and not that other person. Not because you don't like them,
Yeah.
but it's good to just, go out
Well,
there and
if
live
you
a life.
maintain those relationships, even when you're with someone, you won't run into that situation where the friend's like, hey man, when you were John, you were like,
Right.
Jose who or whatever. It's like,
Right.
I know that when you're in a relationship, you can't devote too much time to other things because every person's going to want to spend the majority of their time with their partner, but don't completely just everybody.
Here's what ends up happening too, though. Let's just say that they know John and they've spent time with John too. You always have to be careful because they also will start telling you, like, you know what? I never really liked you.
Oh yeah, the truth will come out.
I know you guys are together, Robbie, and you were together for a long time, but honestly, didn't like the man at all.
Yeah.
He was creepy, or like little things just start to come out. You know what I mean? Like maybe he stared at me a little too long, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like that stuff starts to come out. So you always have to be careful as a friend. And I know this isn't that, but you have to be careful. Like don't say stuff like that, because if they start telling you all the negative stuff, you might get in defense mode and be like, no, he's not like that, or no, this, that, and the other. And then what's going to end up happening, you're going to like him more because you're defending him, right? So you as a friend, you also have to be careful not to give too much of that information because,
I had a situation like that not that long ago where a friend of mine, their relationship had ended, and I did not, the other person that they were with was not a good person. And I had to really fight myself to not be like, this is a good thing. You know what I mean? Like I didn't like him. He was a POS or whatever. Like I didn't, but like, it's hard to not.
I saw a thing on that. I think it was Instagram or TikTok, and it's a guy and a girl, and they're calling another dude on the phone. And the guy's like, hey man, it could have been John or Let's say Kevin is like, hey Kevin, what's going on? He's like, what's going on, man? He's like, yeah, so-and-so isn't my girlfriend anymore.
Oh,
and then the other guy is like, thank God, she was such a bitch. He's like, whoa.
Yeah.
She's my fiance now. And he's like, oh.
And the girl's all like, what the hell?
Yeah, because all that stuff. So again, it's like, you got to give it some time.
Yeah.
You don't need to say stuff like that. Maybe you let some time pass. Let's say a couple of years, and you're like, you know what? I never really did like John.
Yeah.
And here's the reasons why.
Well, because you don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's kind of like when somebody is getting a divorce. And I had this scenario happen to me recently where a friend of mine was saying like, oh yeah, like me and so, we decided to get a divorce. Your mind always goes to, you want to say like, I'm so sorry. But for this person, it was like a really good thing. So it's like, you don't know if you should celebrate it or not. So if a relationship ends, it's like, fill it out how that your friend is feeling, because it could be a really good thing. And they're like, no, I'm actually really happy that it's ended. So I don't know. You never
or they
really
could
know.
get back together. That's the other horrible bit too.
Yeah, now they know how you really feel about.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So you always have to be very, very careful. Like you don't know if it's over or kind of over.
Maybe give it some time, and after like a few years have passed, be like, I never did like John.
Right. Or just keep it to yourself either way.
Yeah, that's true. Number 6, and you're going to love this one. No drunk texting.
Oh,
Now,
I love drunk texting.
I've never done this, and here's why. Because when I'm sad, I don't drink. That's not I'm a happy drunk. Like, I don't like to drink when I'm sad. That's when I just don't eat and whatever.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people do. I'm not judging for the drinking part because you want to drown out your feelings. But drunk texting is like one of the worst things that you can do.
It is.
So,
I've done that before too.
Yeah. So tell us why.
No,
like,
let's not. Let's move on to number 7 now.
But like, why is it? Is it because you have liquid courage and you're trying to get answers? Are you trying to beg for them back? Like,
so
what is it?
Here's the thing, right? This is the thing about alcohol, right? Thing about alcohol
Cheers.
is yay. Here's the thing about alcohol. It gets you to a point where your inhibitions, right? You're not thinking. You're doing things that you ordinarily would not do, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people make bad decisions when they're drinking. Lots of bad decisions. Right? At the time, again, when you're drinking, it's like, yay, it's a good idea for me to stand on this table and dance.
Yeah.
And then when you fall horribly and hurt yourself or break something or you have all these bruises, it's like, that was a bad idea. Under normal circumstances, I would never do that. But now, because I'm drunk or, I'm not thinking straight, and so you do it, right?
Yeah.
Because it shuts off that part of your brain that says, don't do that. That's not a good idea to do.
I have gotten drunk texts from ex-boyfriends, and it's usually like, you're such a great person. You're so beautiful. Like, I don't know. It's usually like I take it as like a little bit of regret maybe on their part that it didn't work out.
Right.
And they're maybe.
Well, because what happens, right, is when you're drinking, even if you start out being a happy drunk, once you get so far into it, you can't stop your thoughts, right? Now, those thoughts would come to you even if you weren't drinking. Mm-hmm. The problem is that when they hit you when you are drinking, then you're going to do something that you should not do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So again, let's just say, you're a woman or I'll say a woman, right? Because a guy, it's a different. But let's say you're a woman, you find somebody attractive. You might not jump his bones right then and there. But if you've been drinking and then you find him attractive, then you're like, you know what I mean? Like,
blame it on the alcohol.
You know what I'm saying? And to a certain degree, you have to. Now, sometimes, and women do this, I'm sure men do it too, right? It gives you that liquid courage, right? Because let's say you see somebody at a bar, and if you're sober, you might not want to go and talk to them. But after a drink or two, you're like, okay, I'm loosening it up. And you know what? If she says no, she says no. No big whoop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then you go up there like, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah. Maybe you build up the courage to ask her out or just strike up a conversation. So again, I'm not saying it's all bad, but I'm just saying you got to be very careful. And if you're in an emotional state, then it's usually not a good idea. So once those thoughts hit.
It makes me think of like dancing like at a club. Like it's hard to just go out there on the dance floor until you've had a few. Then it gives you to be like, okay, like F it, I'll just do it. But before it's...
I've gone out to clubs and I've met women and I'm like, man, if I was sober, that would not have happened. I'm sure women have just a laundry list of those types of scenarios. But I've had my few where I'm like, why did I do that?
That's another reason why you shouldn't get drunk after, because you may get into bed with people right after because you're upset and you're adding the alcohol and you're going to probably regret that. So drinking, I don't know. I mean,
this is an ad for not drinking.
As we're drinking. Drink responsibly.
Yeah, but we're not in emotional states right now. And it's just not a good idea all the way around. But yeah, so what you can do, I don't know if you remember, it was a movie called, I think it was called The Intern. It's with Vince Vaughn and another one. Anyways, they develop an app for that, that if you were intoxicated, you couldn't text anybody. It would stop you from texting people.
What do you say? Like, there's like a breathalyzer hooked up to the phone.
I forgot how they were going to do it, but I think I don't remember how it was. I don't know if you tell it like you're going to be out and about and you've been drinking or whatever, but it keeps on asking like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Or something like that, or it stops you.
Yes.
From yeah. But maybe you would do that beforehand. Let's say you did develop an
like
app.
Put it on like airplane mode or something where like you can't.
I'm just saying like, let's say like you put it in, you use the app and you're like, okay, I'm going to tag all these people that I should not text because I know I'm about to go out and have fun. So I'm not going to text like friends. That's fine because they'll get your silly, stupid text and they're going to be like, oh, Jose.
But what if you're like, oh, again. I'm stronger than that. I'm not worried.
You're not. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. You need to develop something to basically, help you from getting in front of yourself, right? When making bad decisions.
Yeah.
But, somebody will develop it someday, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Number 7 is revenge should not be on your mind. I've never been in a situation where I got dumped and revenge even popped into my mind. I know that it does for some people. I guess maybe the sweetest, I don't want to call it revenge, but is taking care of yourself, bettering yourself.
Sure.
It's kind of a form of that, but in a good way, I guess. It's like, okay, you didn't want me and that's fine. I'm going to better myself and maybe, I don't want to say I'll show you, but it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to be good without you. Don't worry about that. But I know, I'm not going to say men don't do this, but a lot of women do. Where, it could show up in a variety of things, but something that comes to mind is maybe you try to get with one of his friends or something, which is a terrible idea, but I've heard that it happens
Is that
a lot.
What you heard?
That's what I heard.
Or so they say. Yeah, I think revenge is not a good idea in general, but I think it depends on the situation. Again, if you feel like you were wronged, that's the first bit, right? Yeah. But even with that, you always have to be careful whenever you whenever you feel like you've been wrong. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But a victim mentality is not a good thing.
Yeah.
In general, it's just not. Because what it'll do is it'll allow you to justify every action that you do from there on in.
Yeah. And you're not reflecting on your own self after the relationship, which is what you should be doing.
Yeah. Well, you just don't want to, you just don't want a victim mentality.
Yeah.
Because if you feel like you're wrong, then anything you do is justified.
Yeah.
Including, sleeping around with men, whatever, even though you
slashing their tires.
Yeah, well, even that too, right? All of that, none of that is going to be good. And but again, it depends on the situation. If you feel like, oh, he was just dangling me along, or he was seeing me and 3 other girls, I can see how you would feel, hurt and like you were, you were hurt, right? Like he purposely did this to me. Again, it's not a good idea because then you'll start doing things that you really should not do, like screaming out his window or going over his house, trying to confront him or any of that stuff, which is just not a good idea.
I had this one guy that vandalized my car 2 times while we were in a relationship. He was crazy.
While you were in a relationship?
I think I was trying to leave him maybe. And this was a long time ago. I'm trying to remember. I know it was twice. Jeez. But I remember thinking, actually one time I remember we were broken up. And he was like trying to get back with me, but I don't know how smashing my windshield is going to make me want to be with you again.
That's a romantic gesture.
In his mind, I guess. Maybe he thought.
Yeah, she'll come around when she has to fix this window. I did this for you. For you. I don't just go around breaking any girl's window, girl. This is for you.
That was so special. Yeah. All these other girls, they got their windows intact.
Yeah. Losers. But not you. You get a brand new windshield. Those losers have the old original ones.
Yeah. But yeah, revenge is not good. Number 8 is don't spend all your time alone. So we talked about this earlier about in an emotional state, you should be seeking out your friends and family and they're going to know, like obviously if you tell them or if you're close to them, they're going to know and they're going to, if they're good friends or they're good people for your family, they're going to try to be there for you in very positive ways. Yeah. And that's usually what I do is like, if I'm newly single and I'm feeling emotional, I may take that week to be by myself. But after that, it's like, okay, I'm going to see my friends and family more often than I would normally to try to, you're just trying to heal.
Yeah. Being in your head is not a good idea in general.
Yeah.
And we tend to do that and it's just not a good idea. It's just not. Now, the other thing that could happen too is what if your friends and family really like that person? Like, oh no, what happened? John was phenomenal.
Why'd you mess up with John? We thought you were going to get married.
John was such a great guy. Oh my gosh, what happened? Yeah,
don't say that. I find it hard to believe that if anybody, friend or family came to me like, you said like, oh, Jennifer broke up with me and your heart is hurting. Why would I be like, oh no, I really like Jennifer.
Because Jennifer was badass, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, don't do that. But I think that's probably the most healthy thing that you can do after a relationship ends.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, again, being in your head for too long is not a good idea.
Yeah.
It's usually good to be out and about with other people and socialize. I mean, you should do that anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, even being with one person too much is not a good thing. It's usually good to get away from time to time and connect with your friends and family and things like that. Again, if you can bring that person in with you, that's great too. And there are a couple out there that they do everything together.
Yeah.
It's very few and far between, any activities that they don't do.
Yeah.
But I think you do need a little bit of time. I know I'm one person that I do need my alone time. Even when I'm in a relationship, I have noticed that, I try to find a balance. If I'm alone too long, I'm like, okay, I need to be with other people. Like I need to just be interacting aside from just work, right? Although, I do that too, but it's like, no, I need to be in social settings with other people and not work, and so friends, family, and whatnot. But I agree. It's not good to be.
How do you balance that as being an introvert as you are, of like making yourself like get out there like that?
Well, most of my friends and family that know me know that I can only tolerate so much. And so if I leave early, they don't give me crap about it. They used to all the time, like, oh man, come on, we're just getting us. Like, yeah, but I got to go home. So nowadays they don't say that anymore. They'll give me a little bit of crap just because like, oh man, all right, well, if you got to go, you got to go.
I do remember that about you when we first became friends and we were going to like happy hours and stuff like that. You would always leave early. And before I knew that you were an introvert, I never really understood. I was like, why is he always leaving? Like, everything's good. You've reached your limit of...
Yeah. Because again, there's only so much, because there's things that are socially acceptable. And then there's stuff that when you're home, you could just do whatever you want to kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I can't go around like picking my nose or burping.
Is that why you leave early? Because you're like, I had this boogie.
Well, yeah. Just like, I just need to just decompress. And and again, when you're in a social setting, they're asking you questions. So you have to think about the response. You don't necessarily want to offend anybody. But let's say it's a good conversation. Again, it takes a tremendous amount of mental capacity to do all that and still be, without going like haywire, on stuff. Let's say you're passionate about something, but you know that it might offend a whole bunch of people and it's not worth you going on a rant about. You have to hold back. And it's like, okay, let's say they're talking about politics or a movie or whatever. And then, so when you go home, you don't need to deal with anybody.
Yeah.
You're just by yourself and it's just like, okay.
I get it if you're in a situation where it's like maybe a work thing and you're like, you're not really friends with any of these people and you're like, you get kind of exhausted mentally, like your point. But like, if I'm having a good time, I'll stay out all night. Like, I don't, like, I'll sit here and talk to you for 14 hours. Like, I don't care. Like,
yeah, I mean, I've had those before too, but I can only take so much. And then after a while, but if I've been at home for a long time or I've been by myself for an extended period of time, then
it's different.
I can stay out a lot longer.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, I'm really having fun. Like, this is great.
Yeah, I can understand. Like, let's say it's like a Friday and work was busy and you were just on all day Friday during the day and then you go to happy hour. I can understand because you're already mentally exhausted and having to keep, even if you are an extrovert, maybe it would be hard after like a really long day to like just keep, you're having to be on, for so long. Yeah. Number 9 is don't pretend everything is okay.
Oh, I love pretending.
Pretend? That makes me think of, what is that? The Longest Yard? Or wait, no, Waterboy, where he is like, visualize an attack. He's like, pretend?
Yeah. He thinks he's a baby.
Yeah. Pretend that everything's okay. I think this is not good. You're only fooling yourself. If you're not okay, it's okay to tell your friends and family or whatever, like, look, I'm not doing okay. And like I said, if they're good people or they know you really well, they're going to know how to try to help you with that.
Right.
But I know a lot of people, and I'm sure I've done this before too, of like, it's fine. Everything's okay, but it's not.
Right. Yeah. People do that. They do that on dates too. Again, let's say, I'm talking to somebody, it's a first date and they say, yeah, I just got a relationship about 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, it's fine. I'm okay.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Then you must have not liked them, right? You could say that and they're like, no, we did. We're together for 3 years. Okay, so then clearly you're not okay.
Yeah.
There is something going on. But again, you only need to scratch the surface a little bit. But I would say the problem with you saying okay when you're not genuinely okay is that it still has that power over you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you're able to say, I'm not okay right now, at least you've addressed the, 600-pound gorilla in the room, right? Because it's like, if you can't even say it, or if you can't even say their name, then clearly you're not over it. If it invokes that an emotion out of you, then you're not over it. But if you say, I'm not okay, at least you put it out there. It's like, okay, now here's the problem. And like any problem solving, you need to figure out what the problem is, right? Especially if you're at work, something's not working. Okay, what's the problem? Well, the machine isn't doing this, or the report isn't doing this, or we're not able to produce this. Okay, find out, isolate what the problem is, then we can figure out what the solution. But if you just say, oh, there's nothing wrong, we're just not meeting our quota, or we're just not getting things done, it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why are we not?
Yeah.
Clearly something's wrong. So, but yes, once you put it out there, then you can work on it, and then slowly you will get to a point where you're like, I'm okay. Or you don't need to necessarily say okay, but you can say I'm dealing with it, or I've dealt with it, and I'm able to move on, and it's going to transition, right? Because you can't stay in that mode of I'm just feeling horrible forever.
Yeah.
Life has to go on, and you do need to figure out a way. There are people, though, I'm not going to lie to you, that after a breakup, whether it's a divorce or a hard breakup, they sometimes don't recover.
Yeah.
It happens. It really does happen. If that person felt that the other person was the love of their life and there will never be anyone else, which is again why you don't want to be by yourself too much.
Yeah.
Because you're your own thoughts and you're like thinking to yourself, this is it. She was the most wonderful person in the world and she was my soulmate and she was my everything and now she's gone, so I'm done. You know, and it's like, you're not. The world is a big place and there might be another woman out there that's even better than what you think. And so like you can't stay in your own thoughts.
I think another indicator, if you're the friend, people try to mask it with anger of like, let's just say, and it's on the same lines, like you're trying to pretend that you're okay, but it's just like, man, like, let's say that I was with someone for like 4 years and it ended and I'm heartbroken and then I'm telling you about it and I'm like, it's okay, like on to the next one. I try to act so like hard, or even if you're angry about it, even for long periods of time. So let's say 6 months have passed and you say like, hey, I was just checking on you. I know it's been a while since you and John split up. How are you feeling? Whatever. I'm like, man, like forget him. And like, if you're too angry, I guess, about it, you know that I'm not over it.
Yeah. There's what people say and how they act. And if they don't match up,
right,
then you know they're not.
Right. Because
subconsciously you're going to do things and the anger will come out of it.
And it's not, I think some people maybe try to pretend like it's not a big deal to try to seem stronger. Again, it's okay if you're hurt. If I was in a 4-year relationship and I try to go to you and be like, oh, it was nothing, like I'm fine with it. Like, you know, I'm not fine. No one's going to be fine after a 4-year relationship ended and your heart was broken. Right. Like, you don't have to act tough. It's okay.
Sure.
Don't drunk text them, but
no, you don't want to do it. I would say this, and this is my only, if I was going to give advice, give yourself, everybody knows what they are capable of, or at least they kind of think they know what they're capable of. So I would say give yourself whatever amount of time you think it is, because you can't stay. It's like one thing, and everybody's different, mind you, but let's say you guys broke up, it's been 6 months and you're still just as down as you were when you first broke up.
Yeah.
It's not right. I mean, like, you need to get past it. Now, everybody's different, but for me, I usually give myself a time frame.
Like a grace period.
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm going to be as sad as I can possibly be for the next month or two.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I'm not saying I'm going to be completely over and be like, okay, now it's over. But it's like, okay, after a month or two, I need to start moving on. I need to start taking steps to move on and get to a different space, because I can't stay in this space forever.
And you're not allowing yourself to grieve if you also try to pretend that everything's okay. So you're only prolonging whatever feelings you're going to feel.
Right.
So like, just like your point, it's like, okay, I'm going to give myself 2 months to be sad. It's okay to be sad. Yeah. This was a loss of somebody I cared about. It's totally fine. But being like, oh, it's fine, whatever, and trying to put on this facade. I think that's no bueno.
I agree. And you're absolutely 100% right. Because if you don't do it, it's going to rear its ugly head at a later point, and it's not probably going to be a good thing. Yeah.
So. Number 10 is don't instantly try to be friends with your ex.
Aw.
I don't know why anyone would want to do this. You tell me, is that something you would say of like, let's be friends, or would you really try to pretend to be friends?
I'm not going to say that. No. Let's just put it this way, right? And this happens a lot. It's not so much that you want to be friends, but they call you up, right? Classic thing. You break up, let's say 3 months go by or 6 months. And let's just say that you really haven't spoken to one another. Mm-hmm. But then all of a sudden you do. And there's not any hard feelings exactly. And let's say you're in a situation where maybe you've had a drink or two. Mm-hmm. One thing can lead to another because there's a certain amount of familiarity. Like, again,
but that's not instant though. You're talking about down the line. I'm saying instantly after the breakup.
Oh,
then you're trying to be.
That's never happened.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I mean, like when some people break up, they're like, well, let's just be friends, which I don't know why anybody says that.
No, that's not a good idea. That's not a good idea, because clearly unless it was completely mutual. Yeah. Like we sat down and we're talking and we're like, I don't think it's working out. And the other person's like, me either. And it's like, I mean, like we gave it a go and like, whatever, maybe they still want to be friends. Again, it depends on the situation. Yeah. But if there's still feelings or whatever, and you know that seeing that other person with somebody else is going to make you feel a certain kind of way, then you need to.
Even if it wouldn't, I think you still should take some time. Like, just take a little bit of time.
Sure.
Number 11 is it would be better if you stop looking at their photos, text, or love notes. So if you had a bunch of photos on your phone and you're sad, maybe scrolling through those photos probably isn't the best idea.
Yeah. Again,
you delete, you burn.
If I know I can't get over it, I will delete completely everything off of there. To the point where I can't even remember their faces anymore.
Oh.
But you have to.
Yeah.
You have to. Otherwise, you can't move on. And really, it's a human trait, right? But it really makes sense to delete it because why? It's in the past. It's done. It's done. Now, again, friends and family and photos and things like that, that's a different story because you remember what they were when they were younger. And like, that's a good feeling, right? Or let's say they passed away and you can remember what they look like. But a failed relationship, which all purposes intended, it's a failed relationship.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Yeah, reading love letters of like, I'll never leave you. That's not going to make you feel good.
Nope, it will not. Or pictures or any of that stuff usually don't. But, again, everybody's different.
Yeah. Some people like to keep the memorabilia.
Some people do, yeah. I mean, but then it could be an awkward situation where later on when you're with a new person.
Yeah.
And then you're, for whatever it is, let's say you're trying to show them a picture, you're scrolling, all of a sudden they pop up. Then that's a whole nother.
Yeah. I don't think I would have like a memorabilia box. I wouldn't say that I would immediately just destroy everything because I'm not looking in the box. I wouldn't do that. But I mean, like after I've healed, be like, okay, well, I'll just throw everything away. I don't have to have a big ceremony.
Hellraiser, it was started with a box and did not end well in that movie.
The last one is don't say you'll never find love again. So we kind of talked about this.
But I never will. It's over.
Don't say that it's over for you. Everybody, there's someone for everyone. You will find love again.
It's over. It's done. This is the last one. No.
We do that because of the despair feeling, but it's not true.
Because it feels that way. It's like if you've ever been fired or laid off, you don't know where to go.
Yeah.
You feel lost. You feel
worthless.
Like, okay, you're just like, I don't know what to do now at this point. It's done. And it's it's easier for us as humans to look in the future and predict the bad things. Yeah. And that just happens to be, one of the worst ones that, I'm going to be by myself forever now.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to find love. It's so easy because but for me, what interests me more, because I'm just an optimistic person in general. I'm always have been. I always think to myself, even though I have been, I feel like, it's not going to work. But every now and again, I kind of also feel like there might be a person out there that I haven't met yet. Yeah. And how cool is that there's a person out there that maybe we could be happy together.
It's kind of exciting.
Yeah. And I've never met her.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about her now, but I've never met her. I don't know what she looks like.
Yeah.
Don't know what I don't know anything about her, but yet she's out there. It's just a matter of me finding her. And
most people would appreciate a fresh start. Like once you get some perspective on the situation, it's like to your point of like, my soulmate or whatever, this amazing person, they're out there. It's only a matter of time until I meet them.
And I would say this much, and I'll just say this. Every time you have a breakup, it's a learning opportunity. I know we've had one in the past when we talked about the breakups. It really genuinely is a learning opportunity. It will tell you what you can and cannot tolerate. Yeah. Whatever your standards are, even if you had a certain standard, after that relationship, you'll have to retool it a little bit. Yeah. And be like, okay, it turns out that I can do this. And it turns out this that I thought I can handle, I can't handle. Like, let's say you're okay with your current boyfriend or whatever. He played a lot of video games. And then you're like, you know what? Next boyfriend I have, sorry, he can't play that many video games. It's okay if he plays every now and again, but he can't be obsessed with it. I just cannot do that anymore. Like, that's just not something that I can do, right? Or whatever the case may be. So you're going to learn and you'll retool what you can and cannot, and your standards will be adjusted at a certain point. Yeah. So,
well, thank you for exploring these X-Files. And an announcement to our listeners, I forgot to mention this a while back. We did start a YouTube channel.
We did.
So if you are a voyeur and you like to watch our YouTube channel, the link is in the show notes. If you want to see.
Absolutely. There you go.
Okay.
All right. This was a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time.
Bye.
All right. Bye.